Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Great pleasure to welcome the chair of the Waikanae Community Board, James Westbury. Good morning, James.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Well, I'm actually quite relieved. We've had a lot of work to do, and we're sort of getting towards the end of it. And I imagine many people are feeling that way as well. We're sort of getting to the stage of heaving a great sigh of relief. And I certainly hope things are under control in your world, sir.
Oh, I hope so too. I think we're progressing pretty well.
That's
so far,
great.
so good. There's always the pressures of Christmas and New Year's and the festive season.
Yes, indeed.
But I think we can be quite confident we're doing quite well there at this stage.
Excellent. I wonder if we can talk about what a community board does, because I understand there's some discussions going on right now in terms of delegations from the KCDC to the community boards. So what do you do, James?
Well, a community board's role is quite different from a councillor's role. Our role is to advocate and be the liaison on behalf of the community with regards to plans or issues that are presented to the community. So a good one would be the Waikanae Library and the lack of.
Yes.
The Waikanae Community Board would act as a liaison with the community to try and ensure that we can capture the needs and wants of the community and shape what a future library might be. Also to enable them to put forward their views, and also to advocate for investment in our community also.
James, how
so
do
we're
you
the
get...
advocate.
Yeah, you're an advocate. And I was just wondering where you get the feedback from. Everyone knows that you're in business, a major retailer in Waikanae. Do people sort of collar you and chew your ear and say, we should do something about this and that?
I have between 5 and 10 people a day coming through. So my immediate access makes me quite an accessible individual within the community. So, and a lot of the queries that people bring forward are they just need signposting to be directed to communicate with the right individual in council. Some of the issues are more substantial and require the council to initiate some actions with regards to, say, freedom campers parking in the wrong place. It can also be rough sleepers sleeping in our car parks, for example. It could be there's a safety issue with roading or flooding.
Indeed. So, if I was the mayor, I would like to keep very close contact with the community boards, because this is really an early warning system to a certain regard. If things are beginning to get out of kilter, you'd be amongst the first to know about it, wouldn't you?
Indeed. If a council uses a community board effectively, we can reduce the risk of council working along their own agenda potentially and not understanding the needs of their community and then wondering why they don't like it.
And, this is something which is of great value in this area. I can't understand why there aren't more institutions like community boards around the country. I think we're very, very lucky. But I imagine that you also have quite an active role in issues that, the KCDC are dealing with. I'm thinking about the beach bylaws, for example, which is a current discussion, and I imagine you've got a very important part in that.
At the moment, our beach bylaws are up for review, so we'll be engaging with local iwi, we'll be engaging with the community, and the beach bylaw covers aspects of access to the beach, whether people drive their vehicles on the beach, whether they take their dog for a walk on certain areas of the beach, how boats might be launched, and also, for example, how whitebaiters might access the beach also.
So you've got a whole lot of conflicting aspirations there, haven't you? And I suppose that you're in the classic politician's conundrum of trying to balance it out to make sure that you come up with a fair result that everyone can live with.
Indeed, and sometimes it's a practical compromise. Sometimes we have to make decisions that reflect the best interest of the community and the environment. So we're not always going to keep every individual happy, but the key thing is trying to make sure that the best outcome results for our community.
Indeed, and it's interesting to me that one of the first things you mentioned was the Waikanae Library, and I imagine that is probably the biggest single issue in the village right now. Would I be correct?
Absolutely. The Waikanae Community Board, it's our single highest priority. We've just been working through a number of areas that we'd like to focus on. And if there's anything or one thing that as a community that we manage to achieve, we're hoping to secure funding and hopefully see the ground turned for a potential new build. There's a number of ducks to get in line to enable that to happen, but we will be fighting to ensure our community gets its fair share of funding with that respect.
Do you think those ducks could line up this year, or next year, 2020? Trying to get my calendar under control.
Our planning with regard to financial investment, we might be able to secure the funding in future planning arrangements with regard to the long-term plan and the annual plan. But it's certainly going to be challenging if the council want to keep their fiscal responsibility within the budget constraints they've got.
For the long-term planning process in particular, but also the annual plans, they do take time, don't they? Do you think that the community is of a mind to put up with a substantial delay?
I don't, in fact, and I think if councillors don't listen to the Waikanae community, there might be a few people vacant at the next election.
Well, I've got a feeling that the library was a factor in the last election, actually, so I think that maybe they're slightly better attuned to what's happening in Waikanae, and in particular the love of that village for books, and also the other roles that a library can play within the community. They're becoming very important community hubs.
Oh, it's a massive asset to our community. It's a place to meet and greet, to read books, to engage in information technology. It's an area where young children can be involved and encouraged to read. And it's just a multifaceted facility that's got massive benefits to our community. I think previous councillors and council underestimated the value of a library to our community and also the economic prosperity of our community.
Indeed. James, thank you very much for joining us. I realise you're a very busy man right now in the many roles that you fulfil in the community. Thank you very much for making the time. I wish you and yours all the very best for the season.
And to yourself too. Have a great Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. James Westbury, the chair of the Waikanae Community Board.
106.3 Beach FM.